The primary objective of innovation and adoption of technology in the judiciary in Singapore is to serve the public better by ensuring greater efficiency through faster and cheaper services and lower manpower costs. Strengthening fairness is also to be achieved by harnessing technology to help judges achieve just outcomes by facilitating the work of scrutiny of arguments and evidence. On the flip side, however, we must ensure that we don't pursue innovation simply for innovation's sake. The essential point is that courts have an active role in assisting parties in what they do, and technology should be utilized to play in this effort. Technology is not a panacea or the sole instrument and must be part of a holistic approach that encompasses relooking, re-engineering of processes, reform of substantive laws, and organizational or cultural change. And all of these aspects must be relooked from time to time. And there must be a constant commitment to share or to cut away whatever is unnecessary. There will always be things that accrete to the process, that get tacked on, and we must always be on our guard to make sure that there are no unnecessary additions to the process that basically jam up mechanisms and processes which are intended to achieve justice for everyone. Our approach is aligned along the following categories. Firstly, access to justice. Secondly, promoting efficiency. And thirdly, harnessing data. And these form the three large categories in our reformed Courts of the Future framework. Let me take first access to justice. So technology facilitates access to justice by allowing self-represented persons who were previously referred to as litigants in person or pro se litigants, basically people without lawyers, to navigate the legal system on their own without the need to engage lawyers or advocates. This is a necessary function of the legal system. And to serve the public, the end users, the legal system must work towards facilitating such access. And everyone must come together to remove obstacles. The self-represented person needs help to understand the legal issues. And we would need to explore how different solutions, such as using generative AI, guided forms, and perhaps simpler and more user-friendly presentation of information will help such persons. Let me turn next to efficiency. Efficiency efforts reap the primary objective of the adoption of technology, which is namely greater productivity, by making work easier, faster, and more accurate than before. Ideally, to minimize friction and reduce transaction costs, there should be free and unimpeded flow of information from the law firm systems into the court system, and vice versa, subject, of course, to proper security gatekeeping. Turning next to data. So harnessing data is an important function of technology. Data properly used and exploited allows us to gain intelligence about trends that are beneath the surface, obtain evidence about possible causes of problems, and allows us to perform granular and detailed analysis of issues. All of these can then assist in better judicial administration to allow the courts to refine judicial policy and anticipate and prepare for increases or decreases in caseload, for us to identify new trends which may require more expenditures, more resources, more training and education of judges, and for us to check on the effectiveness of legal doctrine. What I hope to convey to you today is that the Singapore Court's journey of digitalization and adoption of technology continues. We do not pretend to have all the answers right now, and we have made our own share of errors, and as in any other area of innovation, there will often be uncertainty, insecurity, and sometimes fear. For those of us in the courts or in legal practice, the essential value is of upholding fairness and justice with the aim of better achieving justice according to law. So whatever challenges there may be in further technological innovation, in launching large programs, or in dealing with day-to-day frustration, the courts will continue to work with our partners, stakeholders, and social welfare organizations to ensure that we leave no person behind.
With all the attention and all the focus on chatbots, why don't we have it? And the answer to this is not because we're sleeping and not paying attention to this. Instead, on the contrary, we've spent 6 months last year experimenting with whether GPT 3.5 can give us a useful chatbot to serve our interests in access to justice. So, for example, a chatbot that was trained on rules of court, the Singapore Rules of Court, depending on how you ask it, it can tell you that you have 14 days to appeal a decision, and it can tell you that you have 30 days to appeal a decision. Both answers are totally correct. Because the Rules of Court has provisions that give you 14 days to appeal, it also has provisions that give you 30 days to appeal. This and a whole lot of other examples led us to realize that it would be extremely unsafe in an area where precision is required for us to allow the use of a chatbot where people might rely on it and perhaps to their detriment.
Technology is so prevalent nowadays that we tend to think of it as the toolbox, but it's just one tool in your toolbox. Right? I think a lot of the time the problem is that you have a bad process or your law itself is just very complicated, and very often things can be solved not necessarily with complicated technology but with existing technology, or by just conceptualizing and thinking of things in a different way. Right? So while technology is certainly a useful tool in that toolbox, I think there is often an overemphasis on it. Sometimes we don't need to jump straight to technology. We need to think about, okay, what's stopping people from behaving the way that we want them to behave? What's actually causing the friction here? And you don't need to necessarily build something new if you can actually do something less expensive, less complex to solve that problem.
So to me, using technology as a bridge to justice requires, first and foremost, knowledge of these very problems and the potential areas of improvements. And some of these problems may not be immediately obvious. So what a person in the street thinks is a problem may only be a symptom of an underlying issue, and creating a technological solution for it would not be effective and an inefficient use of limited resources. So becoming aware of these problems or areas of improvement may require domain expertise and knowledge that are present in those who have been working in the field for an extended period of time and who know the ins and outs. It is only by understanding the problems that are being faced that we can begin to consider how technology can come in to play a role.
For those who do not know Pro Bono SG very well, we are actually the Law Society of Singapore's charity arm. So what we do is that we enable access to justice for the vulnerable and the disadvantaged through legal awareness, advice and advocacy. We've set up a community law centre at Tian De Temple, so it's hosted free of charge by a temple in Hougang. And it was set up for the objective of helping those with mobility challenges, financial challenges, caregiving responsibilities, and also those without technological access, to help them, to connect them to services. And in terms of the profile of the clients, the largest group of clients served are actually the elderly. So we have 34% above 65 years old, and the next largest group are actually those between 51 and 64 years old at 28%. The clients were always given an option. Do you want the services to be conducted online for your convenience if you're able to use technology, or do you prefer to meet us in person? More than 80% of the clients opted for consultations in person. They wanted the comfort of seeing a human being.
Technology is just a tool, it's going to be out there, but what is essential, as everyone on the panel said, is the human touch.